I'm Tommy and you're watching Nordic Fragrance. Welcome. Finally, the sun is starting to warm up, the days are getting longer and the snow is slowly melting away. Springtime is soon upon us. As you can see behind me, springtime in Sweden and Northern Europe is probably what most countries in the world would call wintertime. I'm talking about somewhere between 5 and 15 degrees Celsius, and it can be pretty chilly at times. So spring fragrances in this kind of climate really needs to be both fresh and a little sweet to withstand and pierce through the cold as well. Today I will present to you my top 5 spring fragrances for colder climate. They are all picked and rated by my girlfriend. Now let's move inside and get this list started. I would like to start this list off with an honorable mention. This fragrance right here, Narciso Rodriguez for him. This is a great spring fragrance for most countries, and it will probably be my number 1 spring fragrance of them all. Unfortunately, it lacks a little sweetness to make it into this cold climate top 5 spring list. I have to just give it an honorable mention. Narciso Rodriguez for him, great spring fragrance, just not sweet enough to make it into this list.
5.
On the 5th place we have Silver Scent Intense from Bogart. This is a really great spring fragrance for colder climate because it's fresh but yet distinctively sweet. This is also a cheapie and a beast mode performer. I've heard some people say that this fragrance to them smells a little like grape bubblegum. Silver Scent Intense from Bogart is pleasantly fresh but yet distinctively sweet at the same time. I really like this fragrance a lot, and apparently so does my girlfriend. She placed this on 5th place. Bogart Silver Scent Intense.
4.
On 4th place we have Rassasi Havas. This is a fragrance that smells a lot like Invictus Aqua. And this is probably a scent more for the warmer spring days. It's very fresh, but it's also got a little sweetness to it, so it's perfect for this list really. I do enjoy this scent a lot and I will wear it a lot this spring as soon as it just gets a little warmer than this. Like most Rassasi fragrances, Rassasi Havas is not too expensive and it also performs really well for being such a fresh fragrance. This is a great, versatile spring fragrance that can easily be worn in the summertime as well. So on 4th place, Rassasi Havas.
3.
Moving into the top 3, we have another Rassasi fragrance. This one is called Rassasi Daresh. This is probably the sweetest fragrance on this list, and many people compare this one to the now discontinued Valentino V. This fragrance smells great. It's both fresh and sweet at the same time, and got a little exotic vibe to it, a little Middle Eastern touch if you will. That makes it come across as a little exotic to most Western people. And I hardly have to mention this anymore, but as a Rassasi fragrance it is cheap, it's eau de parfum concentration, and it performs really well. This is a great spring fragrance for colder climate because of its freshness and sweetness and a little exotic touch to it as well. I find this a great 3rd spot pick from my girlfriend, Rassasi Daresh.
2.
On 2nd place we have a fragrance that can come across as a little controversial to place in a top 5 spring list. I have seen many YouTube reviewers that place this fragrance in the fall and winter fragrances lists. Those are probably reviewers that live in big cities and don't get out and smell nature too often. Burberry London for Men is a very manly scent with the notes of leather and tobacco, but it also has somewhat of a piney feel to it. It smells like fresh pine, and that's probably why most urban reviewers place this in the fall and winter category lists. They probably only smell pine-like scents in the winter time when they buy a Christmas tree and get into their apartment. But for most of us that live in the countryside that smells the nature all day long, pine is really a great spring scent. When the sun starts to warm up in the springtime and the snow is starting to melt away and you take a walk in the woods, you can get an incredibly nice, fresh pine scent. And this is what this fragrance reminds me of. An early spring walk in the woods. So I see Burberry London for Men with its piney touch as a perfect spring scent more than a fall or winter fragrance really. So for all you reviewers that think that this smells like a Christmas tree, you really need to get out in nature more. Smell the natural woods in the springtime. this is spring in a bottle, not fall or winter, in my humble opinion. And apparently my girlfriend agrees with me and place Burberry London for Man on second place on best spring fragrances.
1.
At the number 1 spot for best spring fragrances for colder climates, we have a no surprise fragrance really. This is Versace Dylan Blue. This may come across as somewhat of a boring pick for first place, but this fragrance is really such a solid spring fragrance that it's hard to ignore it. And I personally do love it myself and will wear it a lot this spring. This fragrance is great. It's versatile, it's fresh, and it's got a little dark undertone that makes it a bit mysterious too. Performs well. It is a bit on the expensive side, but it's worth the money, I tell you. This is a great fragrance, one of my very favorite designer fragrances. My girlfriend didn't really think too much of this fragrance in the beginning when she smelled it, but over time it has grown on her, and she placed it on a well-deserved first place for best spring fragrances for colder climates. I agree wholeheartedly with her. This is a great spring fragrance and I would recommend this to anyone really. So this was my top 5 best spring fragrances for colder climate picked by my girlfriend. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support me and don't miss any future videos, please click the subscribe button. And until we meet again, take care of yourselves.